everybody has a right to live 100% of the way that they want to live. That is your God, spiritual given, universe given right.
All right, everybody. Walk, run, skip, jog, whatever you need to do, get over here. It's Peloton's Matty and Maggiacomo joining me for an episode of Truth Be Told. Hey, friend.
You have to do the hands like that.
Beware.
That's so important.
Whether you're in a heel or full drag or creating a full experience for whoever's taking your classes, what it's taken to harness that confidence you have right now, where does that come from?
It's a whole amalgamation of different things. I'm very blessed to have just an amazing support system and friends and family. I mean, I can say my mom first and foremost. I get a lot of my courage from her, a woman who really raised herself and truly raised us. I mean, I'm obviously very close to my father as well, but I spent a lot of time with my mom as a kid. And I saw this very strong woman that just kind of knew what she wanted and was a lioness in bringing up her children. And I took that with me. I took that with me to New York City, just to be brave enough to move to a city at 18 years old. And now actually next year I'll be here for 20 years. I love New York City so much. And then when I got to New York, I realized, wow, okay, this is a place where I can really live out loud. This is a place where I can really be myself. And I grew in confidence. I grew just knowing that it's like, good old Blue Eyes used to say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And having lived here for 20 years and having the job that I have, I'm like, wow, honestly, at this point in my life, I can say I'm confident. Not to say, and I call it the gremlin, not to say that gremlin, and I know we all have it, that gremlin likes to pop up every once in a while and say, hey, Matty, hey, Tony, hey, Cindy, hey, Stacy, like, you're not good enough. And we just have to learn how to say, hey, gremlin, shut the hell up, because this is my show and it's not yours. And that's, that's a trick that I always try to employ, especially, on the days that just don't feel so good,
Yeah. What was young Matty like? What do you remember most about that kiddo?
Gosh, I mean, he was really trying to make sure nobody knew he was gay. That's for sure. It's funny because they always say, like, the bullies know before you do. Like, all the bullies in my life knew that. I mean, they told me I was gay as young as kindergarten, first grade. And I didn't even know what that was. But, as I grew up and got into my teens, 15, 16, I realized that this was a part of me. And so I can't say that I was 100% myself, which is why, and this does happen to a lot of queer people, once you come out of the closet, you kind of do it all over again. I always laugh because they say, like, gay men wear tight t-shirts because we didn't get to wear them when we were 13 years old. This one's not that tight, but it's tight enough. But you sort of do it. So when I look back at that person, I know I have a lot of friends that really speak about their high school time as like it was like the best time of their life, and finally, and I will look back and be like, you know what, it really wasn't, because I was only being about 50% of who I actually am. When I look back at college and I look at my early years, like, in the city in my 20s, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Matty, that's the one. But I've always been a nerd, I've always been a geek, I've always been a Broadway queen, I've always been a news junkie. And to believe it or not, like, breaking news, I actually didn't love fitness for most of my life. Wow. Like, I've actually only loved fitness for about 12 years. And I'm 7 years old. And, and so, for the folks out there that are like, when does fitness become part of my life? It's never too late. You can actually adopt it later in your life. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to kind of dig into this journey of yours, this journey to 100%, this charisma, this joy, this magic that you exude. Was there a time or a moment when you decided to embrace this part of yourself?
Yeah, it's an ever evolving thing. I think again, I'll say again, nothing changed me more than moving to New York City and realizing that there were different people out there. I come from Rhode Island, and there was enough diversity, but not like a lot of diversity in my high school. I don't think there were many. I mean, gosh, maybe one or two kids were out and gay. And so when I came to New York and realized that I could arrive fully as a queer person in the world. Okay, that was a big moment. When I realized then that I was doing a job that people identified me as being good at, that was another moment. I was like, oh, okay. So we talked about confidence. That's when I was like, oh, okay. People actually enjoy spending an hour with me running on a treadmill or lifting weights. And then it's honestly moments where I start to live out loud. I mean, it was only 2 years ago that I put on that wig for the first time and transformed into Marathana, and that was another moment that I was like, oh. And it's funny, my mom marathoner is my drag
Yeah.
persona, and I don't pretend to be a drag queen. Am put in drag and pay people to put me in drag. I can't do the makeup, right? And I pay them to dress me. However, when I was kind of reflecting on it with my mother, who is full inspiration for Mara as it is, I was like, Mom, this. She's like, you've been doing this since you were like in eighth grade. That voice, that Mara voice that you do, she's like, you've been doing that since eighth grade. I was like, yeah, you're right. You totally got me. So there are parts of it that are always inside of you. It's just at what point in your life is all of that going to come out and be shown to the world?
As queer people, we're kind of born to find ourselves. And
Hmm.
for people who maybe are not that explorative and are
Sure.
maybe missing out on themselves as a result, what would you say to that?
They're missing out on all the fun. Open your mind, open your mind. I mean, this is why I have a problem. I don't want to get political. This is why I have a problem with people who don't understand pronouns. I'm like, if, these are my pronouns. Like, this is what it is. This is what I want to be identified of. How can you not open your mind enough to understand this concept? I get very frustrated over that. But I just say, listen, relax a little bit. Let's open up and do what you need to do to open that brain up. I don't care, magic mushrooms, whatever you got to do, get there. And you will understand that it's so important, because everybody has a right to live 100% of the way that they want to live, unless you're a racist or a serial killer. But but it's
Okay.
so important. It's so important. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, that is your God, spiritual given, universe given right.
And so, Matty Maggiacomo, here we are today. Fast forward. Who and what would you describe yourself as today? What is your truth?
Oh, my truth. My truth. My truth, Tony, is I am a person who shows up in the world for other people, not a people pleaser, but a person who looks, I know you're a Disney fan, who looks to just sprinkle a little bit of magic in everyone's life, gives that promise or offers a promise for people to just have a little extra joy every day, even if it's for an extra 10-15 minutes while you're working out with me, or maybe it's something that you really love that I said. And then just to be there as a best friend, a brother, a son, that's part of your family, that you're like, you know what, that's a guy that I understand. That's a guy that I feel is incredibly approachable. And at the end of the day, if I put a smile on your face, then that's my purpose in life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Don't be afraid of joy. Oh my goodness.
Nope. Nope.
Matty, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Tony, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
To see more Truth Be Told, check us out at pluslifemedia.com and follow us at pluslifemedia. Until next time, let your truth be told.